Hey folks, welcome to Shooting Up North. I'm your host, Lewis Carlin. We're heard right here on the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. Thank you so much for joining me today. Just want to give a shout out to one of our newest subscribers to our YouTube channel, Amy Carparelli. Thank you very much for subscribing to the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network YouTube channel. Amy Carparelli, thank you so much. Okay, let's get into it here. Another NXT superstar's contract is close to expiring. This is SE Scoops reporting from a report on Fightful Select. It reports that Pete Dunne's contract, NXT superstar Pete Dunne, his contract is expiring soon. Fightful Select has learned that Pete Dunne's NXT contract is up soon. One source pointing to after SummerSlam weekend, though we haven't confirmed that date with Dunne or WWE as of yet. Fightful Select reports that the situation was similar to that of Adam Cole's, but it hasn't been given, they haven't been given any additional details. It says, while Dunne's contract may be expiring soon, Fightful Select didn't say if the WWE will re-sign Dunne or if he wants to leave. I have four letters. Now, this was reported earlier today, so but I have four letters for Pete Dunne. Four letters. NJPW. New Japan Pro Wrestling. Pete Dunne is a natural. He is a natural for New Japan Pro Wrestling. He would be absolutely amazing in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I would love to see Pete Dunne in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's the perfect wrestler for that promotion. He would have some amazing matches. Pete Dunne against Kenta, Pete Dunne against Tomohiro Ishii, Pete Dunne against Tetsuya Naito, Pete Dunne against Hiroshi Tanahashi or Hiromu Takahashi, Pete Dunne against Kazuchika Okada, Pete Dunne against Minoru Suzuki, Pete Dunne against Will Ospreay, Pete Dunne against Jeff Cobb. It goes on. Pete Dunne against El Desperado, Pete Dunne against Sho. You know, so much of Pete Dunne against Shingo Takahashi, Pete Dunne against Kota Ibushi. Pete Dunne would be incredible in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I don't know what his status is. I don't know if he's looking to leave, if he's looking to stay. For all we know, he could re-sign with WWE. But if he's considering leaving, he should consider New Japan Pro Wrestling. I would love to see him there. And I don't think I'm the only fan that would like to see him in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He could join, I think he would be great in Suzuki-gun if you want to join that faction, or if you want to join a faction, United Empire, which is led by Will Ospreay. That would be another possible faction for him to join. But Pete Dunne in New Japan Pro Wrestling, man. And he in New Japan Pro Wrestling, Revolution Pro in the UK, they have a working agreement. So Pete Dunne could work with Revolution Pro. He has in the past, so he could go back working for them if he wants to work in the UK. Or he could work in the US, so under the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong umbrella as well. New Japan Pro Wrestling, they're running shows in the US as well, so he would be able to work in the US as well. But he would be just fantastic in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Just you think of the potential matchups there, man. Just think of the potential matchups. And if you want to wrestle like a John Moxley or say he wanted to like a wrestler Kenny Omega, the New Japan Pro Wrestling AEW partnership is going strong. He could head on over if he goes to New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong for a bit. He can head on over to AEW, do a run-in on John Moxley or Kenny Omega and have a great match there. So I would love to see him. I would love to see him in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Pete Dunne, go to AEW. Not everybody can go to AEW. They can't sign everybody, right? They can't sign everybody. I mean, Adam Cole, rumored that his contract is coming. Oh, he's going to AEW. Braun Strowman, oh, he's going to AEW. Bray Wyatt, oh, he's going to AEW. Anytime there's a free agent, oh, they're going to AEW. Buddy Murphy's going to AEW. You know, not everybody could go to AEW, and they can't sign everybody. I know they got the new AEW Rampage show coming, and they want to sign maybe a few more talents, but they can't sign everybody. I think Pete Dunne would be absolutely fantastic in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and if Pete Dunne said, hey, he sent me an email saying, hey, Lewis, I can't decide where I want to go. Yeah, I'm going to leave it up to you. Where do you want me to go? I say, hey, Pete, you should go to New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think you'd be fantastic there. And he say, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Maybe I'll sign with them. But, but man, I'd love to see him in New Japan Pro Wrestling. There's so many great potential matchups. He would be an absolute star. Him against Jay White. Imagine Jay White versus Pete Dunne for the never open weight championship. My gosh, that would be fantastic. That would be fantastic, man. Wow, just there's so much potential there for Pete Dunne. And who knows, maybe he's getting a little tired of being in the WWE. He's been with them for about 5 years, maybe. I've done so much. I can do always so much. The morale is down in the locker room. They're releasing everybody. Maybe it's time to move on to New Japan Pro Wrestling. But yeah, that's my take. I would love to see him in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, Josh Alexander. I just pulled up a video of Josh Alexander that I didn't want to pull up, but okay, but here we go. Fightful.com reporting here. Josh Alexander says a rivalry with Ethan Page is inevitable. Josh Alexander and Ethan Page are in separate companies, but the Forbidden Door is open for a reunion and a possible match. AEW and Impact have been working together all year, with AEW talent often appearing on Impact television. Ethan Page left Impact at the start of the year to join AEW and have already been featured in a prominent position, main eventing Dynamite and sharing the ring with Sting. His former tag team partner, Josh Alexander, has become a top single star. You could say he's the top single star right now, in my opinion, in Impact. But not but the top single star in Impact right now, capturing the X Division title. Alexander discussed a reunion with Page. This is a quote from Josh Alexander. He was actually speaking to SB Nation's Cage Side Seats. Quote from Josh Alexander: "It would be done as a reunion because there are a bunch of dream matches on the table that need to happen for the sake of the wrestling community and what we can do as a tag team. Inevitably, it ends up in a rivalry. We are two contrasting individuals, and when you put those two things together, it creates magic. I think it's inevitable, but who knows," said Josh Alexander. When asked about a dream match for the North, Alexander replied, "FTR. I'm an enormous fan of FTR, and even now, I still look at them as the greatest tag team on earth. If we were ever to call ourselves that, we need to go head to head with them to test ourselves." Of course, FTR part of the AEW roster. And again, that's Fightful.com reporting there. So that would be, I would love to see Josh Alexander and Ethan Page reunite and take on FTR. I think that would be fantastic. But as he said, it could eventually or inevitably end up in a rivalry where Josh Alexander goes one-on-one with Ethan Page, Impact Wrestling versus AEW. I think that would be fantastic. They've met before in the past up here in Ontario. The two great wrestlers. I would love to see them go one-on-one. Josh Alexander right now, as I said, the top star, the top single star, in my opinion, in Impact Wrestling. They've been teasing a match between him and Kenny Omega for the Impact Wrestling World Title. They just started teasing it, so I think we're going to see that. But I would love to see. I mean, the Forbidden Door is open. Anything can happen. Ethan Page is in trouble. FTR attacks him, and Josh Alexander shows up on AEW to make the save, or vice versa. Josh Alexander's in trouble on Impact Wrestling. Ethan Page shows up, makes the save. Anything can happen with this Forbidden Door. Anything can happen with the Forbidden Door being open. And I wouldn't be surprised if we eventually see Josh Alexander and Ethan Page teaming up again to take on FTR. That's the match that Josh Alexander wants. I'm sure Ethan Page wants it. I'm sure the fans would absolutely love to see it. I would love to see it. And if it leads to a Josh Alexander, Ethan Page rivalry, Impact versus AEW, they could, Ethan Page saying, "You're in Impact Wrestling, I'm in AEW, I'm a little better than you," and Josh Alexander taking exception to that, and him and Ethan Page, they go at it in a one-on-one. Maybe they can have, maybe Josh Alexander and Ethan Page in a death match, with with Nick Gage as a special weapons referee. No, I'm just kidding. No death match. But they were kind of teasing a rivalry between the two before Ethan Page left. But or split up between the two, or a match between the two. But hey, like I said, this Forbidden Door, anything can happen with the Forbidden Door. Anybody can walk through it, and it could happen. It could happen down the road. We could see it. I wouldn't be surprised. I like I said, we need to see more Impact stars on AEW besides the Good Brothers, because that's all that's showing up on AEW right now from Impact Wrestling are the Good Brothers. We'd love to see Josh Alexander show up on AEW one day and just get in the face of somebody. Even if it's Ethan Page, that's great. But I'd love to see Josh Alexander. He called out AEW the other day. They posted on Twitter, Impact Wrestling posted on Twitter. I would love to see Josh Alexander show up on show up on AEW with the X Division title and just call out the entire roster. Just Josh Alexander, just get in the ring and just call out everybody one by one. Just come on down. That'd be great. That'd be great, man. And the Big Show is like, I've had enough of this guy. And the Big Show goes in the ring and takes his headset off and charges, and Josh Alexander just takes him out. That'll be no, but in all seriousness, I would love to see Josh Alexander show up on AEW. Maybe confront Kenny Omega, maybe confront Ethan Page. Who knows? You never know what's going to happen, as I said, with the Forbidden Door. And that's definitely something that I would love to see. Okay, now unfortunately, I have to end this podcast on a sad note. One of the all-time greats, absolute legend of professional wrestling, a guy that I grew up watching, Bobby Eaton, beautiful Bobby Eaton, passed away at the age of 62. And Bobby Eaton was a very, very special talent. You could just see it immediately in the ring. Whenever Bobby Eaton was in the ring, you could just see just how talented he was. He just all came naturally to him. And he was one half of the legendary tag team, the Midnight Express, and they had an absolutely legendary feud with the Rock and Roll Express. Those matches, if you're a younger fan and you haven't seen any matches between the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express, you have to go back and look it up on YouTube. Great rivalry between the two, just a legendary rivalry. And I've seen so many Bobby Eaton matches in my lifetime. As I said, I grew up watching him. And I remember when he won the WCW World Television Championship. Great singles wrestler as well. He held numerous singles titles as well as tag team titles. And it's always sad when you guys that you grew up watching and they pass on. It's always sad. It's never like earlier in the week we lost Jody Hamilton, the Assassin, another great wrestler, and yesterday we lost Bobby Eaton. And it happens, right? Nobody can live forever. Nobody can live forever. And watching, like I said, watching Bobby Eaton perform in the ring, it was just it was a treat. It was an honor. It was a privilege and an honor to be able to watch Bobby Eaton in the ring. He was just so good. And just want to say. I just want to say to Bobby, thank you. Thanks for the memories, and rest in peace. And you deserve it. You deserve it, man. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much for listening. I'm Lewis Carlin. This is the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network, shooting up north. And until next time, thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye. And stay safe, everyone. So long. Bye-bye.